So students, we have done with synapse and structure of a basic neuron we have done, and now how the neurotransmission takes place. So this is okay, and now see, listen, I will tell you some examples. Whenever your mom came and gave you a hot milk, and it is getting with the flames, okay, and she has given it to your hand. She has given it to your hand, and you had caught the coffee. So immediately after touching the hot coffee, there are some receptors in the skin. The skin has receptors. These skin receptors are stimulated. These receptors have these dendritic nerve endings. We had discussed the structure of neuron. No? These receptors are present at the dendritic endings. These receptors go and stimulate the dendrites. These receptors go and stimulate the dendrons. The dendrites will release some chemical material into the nucleus. The dendrites will material some chemical material into the cell body. So this is receptor. Hot coffee will stimulate receptors. Receptors will stimulate dendrites of neuron. These are dendrites. So from the dendrites there are chemical is present. Chemical material is came into the cell body. Chemical material into cell body. From cell body they travel along the axons. And from the axons these are synapses or nerve endings. This chemical material is disposed into synapse. From the synapse, I already told you, there is a next neuron. This chemical material will come into next neuron. So next neuron, it goes along all the way to the next synapse, and this whole process continue until it reaches brain. This is neurotransmission. So after the brain, it reaches the stimulus. The hot coffee hand receptor stimulated, it reaches the brain. From the brain, the signals come out as to remove or to keep hot milk away from your hand as it is hot. So this is a neurotransmission. So next is we will see the parts of the brain. Listen carefully. The brain has three parts. There are three parts in a brain. We will definitely explain you. And this is forebrain. This is midbrain. This is midbrain as it present in the center, and this is hindbrain. So listen carefully. Hindbrain has an important part or an important area called as cerebellum. Cerebellum. Cerebellum is mainly used for if you want to, if you should ask a, if you want to play straightly. I mean, if you want to walk straight, or you want to bicycling a cycle, or if you want to, if you want to mm, maintain an erect posture, maintain erect and straight posture, and it is also responsible for voluntary actions, precision voluntary actions of precise movements. I mean, I am writing this pen. I am writing with this pen. This is a precise action, voluntary precise action. So this is a fine movement. So cerebellum is essential for walking straight on the road or bicycling a cycle, maintaining erect posture, and voluntary action. I am writing with the pen with the precisely fine movement. It is essential for fine movement. Cerebellum is essential for, and the forebrain is used for especially for thinking, thinking, and also our forebrain is essential for thinking, and also it is essential for gustatory sensations. I have already told you receptors like smell, taste, gustatory is tongue, taste is also tongue, smell through nose. This is olfactory. So all this comes sound. This is inner ear, nose, tongue, ear. All these receptor signs go to the forebrain, and midbrain has a special structure called as midbrain. So I'll tell you midbrain. Midbrain has a special structure called as medulla. Medulla. It is essential. It is helpful for involuntary activities in the body, like to maintain pupillary size in eye, and also our blood pressure, our heart rate, and also many activities like involuntary actions in body. These are the examples of the parts and areas of the brain. And next thing is uh, what is a reflex arc? What is a reflex arc? The main example is the main best and most important example is the same thing. Your mom has given you a coffee, hot coffee. The flames are coming, and you took the coffee with your hand. Okay, it means immediately you should realize that it is very hot, so that you cannot drink and you should keep the coffee aside. This is very important, or else the hot coffee may burn your skin. It is highly important. So for this purpose, there is a reflex arc which is essential for voluntary and daily activities to control voluntary and day-to-day activities in human beings, also in animals. This is very essential. So what are all the parts involved in the reflex arc? Reflex arc contains an I will write simply for you. Just go with this. I will write diagram and explain it. It contains of four parts. The first part is receptor. I have already told you receptor. First part is receptor. Second part is an afferent input. An afferent input. And third part is an afferent or sensory input. Sensory input. Third part is spinal cord. And this fourth part is efferent or a motor output. Motor output. So we'll come with a diagram and explain you here claritily. So claritily I will explain you. Whenever a coffee, the mom has given you a coffee here. So this mom has given you a coffee here. You took with your hand. So the receptors are present here. This receptor are stimulated. This is receptor in the hand. This is coffee receptor stimulated, and there is an afferent or sensory. Nothing but what information from the receptor is carried to the spinal cord. And from the spinal cord there is a relay. From spinal cord itself the afferent comes out. This is afferent, and this is afferent. Afferent is also called, what comes out is output. What goes in is input. Coming in is in and going out is output. So output, what we see is output is the output go and supply the muscle present in the hand. It will immediately do that. Just remove or take off your hand. So this is under the presence of spinal cord. What does it mean is there is no time for us to go to the brain. The neuron should go to the brain, should think and should analyze, and it will be giving output. Then if you remove the hand, it means the hand will be burnt out, the hand will be damaged, the hand will be injured. So to prevent from that, injuries or burns are like that, the God has given a beautiful gift called as reflex arc. How fast we react to the environmental changes, it is called as a reflex arc. So what are the parts of reflex arc? There is a stimulus here, followed by the receptors are stimulated, and there is a afferent input or sensory input. It goes to the spinal cord without going to the brain directly. But however, there is stimulus reported to the brain itself, but the action comes from the spinal cord itself. From the spinal cord, the afferent or output comes to the muzzle of the hand, and this muzzle is taken off. This is called as a reflex arc. Okay guys, the clarity I have explained you all the things about the structure of a neuron, how the transmission is went, how there is what is the synapse, and what is the reflex arc, and what are the parts of a brain, and what is their main action, and how are the tissues are protected. I have explained you everything. So next we will go with the coordination in plants. Until then, stay tuned.